Welcome back. She was a Roy Rogers girl from Marlow Heights, where she served up flame-broiled bites. She knew she needed a career and was one that she would come to hold very dear. For it was in the United States Navy where she found her gravy. Please join me in welcoming Chief Petty Officer Nancy O'Brien, United States Navy retired. Chief, thanks
Thank
for coming
you.
in. Did you like that rhyme?
Yes, I did. That was good.
There's a little tidbit I've been saving for this moment, and that's that we haven't I haven't met you before until we finally met, what, a couple
Right.
months ago? But being that you worked at that Roy Rogers in Marlow Heights, and I grew up in Camp Springs, which is probably, what, 5 minutes away from there?
So close.
Yeah. My mom used to take me there. So it's entirely possible that we interacted before.
Well, you're a lot younger than me, so probably.
Did you ever work to register?
Oh, yes, I did it all. We grew up in the same area, just at different times, and
Yeah.
your family was very well known in the area.
Were they?
Come on, can we talk about
what kind of reputation?
Well, they had, the biggest funeral home. I can honestly, all my friends, parents, my family, everyone used it. That and then Sharper's Florist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I think they went kind of hand in hand.
That was in another life, folks.
We all have another life.
That's for sure. Now, you joined the Navy, what, was it 1970?
1973.
73.
Yeah.
That's like you were in the van of all the women coming in, right?
Well, yeah. Back then, like I said, we were called Women's Auxiliary Volunteer Emergency Services.
It's a mouthful.
Waves. We were what
Okay.
called waves. So, and we weren't actually considered on the same level, or I don't have, level is the right word, as men, their commitment in the military. We were limited on what we could do or where we could serve. At that time, no ships. Maybe the hospital ships, but no. Our sea duty was overseas duty. So it was a plus for us, and some of the guys really resented it because for guys that are on a ship, when it comes time for rotation, they opt for shore duty. And shore duty is a lot of times overseas. And they were giving us the billets, which was limiting them on getting orders. So that kind of created some different differences where, we got, you're taking up all the good shore billets. We can't get them because of you women.
Yeah. I can imagine there's a lot of conflict, hard feelings.
In the beginning, yeah, I was like when I went to Japan, Yokosuka, I was one of the first. I think there were six waves or women that got there at the command. Now nurses have been serving in the military forever, so that they were there. But as far as being at a command, I was one of the first, and it was a rude awakening for the men. They
Bucket of ice water.
yes. Well, they were briefed on how they should treat us and what it was going to be like, and it was all of it was so wrong. Oh yeah, I mean, you don't make allowances. Allowances is you should get in any field being promoted or work details that are better. It should be based on merit, not just because of your gender.
Right, yeah.
Which is happening in the country right now. you know, and I saw, as far as even advancement for minorities, when they couldn't advance, lower the standards, and you can't benefit that way. So I saw I had two. Well, from Japan, I went to the Philippines, which one of the first
Pacific Bay.
San Miguel, about 45 minutes from Subic, up the road. They always put communication stations in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you see, friends of mine, oh, I'm going to Australia. I can't wait. Harold E. Holt is on the other side of Australia where there is
Don't shoot
absolutely
way at
nothing.
the outback out there. Were
And
you at the communication place? Were you the only female there, or were there others?
at both places, I was one of the first to come in.
Okay.
Yeah, so there were like
I was just
five.
thinking if they were trying to like quarantine all the women in like one small area.
Well, eventually, like I said, after I had been at the command, they had sent people. Well, there were quite a few women serving in the medical field, enlisted dental technicians, things like that. But as far as like my communications, which is normally a big command on the base, one of the first. And then you started to see in women's service bosun's mates, down at the docks.
Because that was sea duty, right?
Well, if I, I'm not sure because it's been so long and I'm so old and my memory is so bad. Working at the dock, the tugboats, which tugboats are not going to go out for, they
Right.
bring the ships in, and they were, a lot of times bosun's mates. Bosun's mates are jack of all trades. You call them boats, and you better call them boats, or you're in trouble. As far as maintenance, things like maintaining. So, I mean, they got their hands dirty. Okay, my job, I didn't get my hands dirty. just on some work details when I was a nobody. um, One of the benefits of communications on a ship, you're always in an air-conditioned space. No windows to look out of. You're behind a cipher lock. But some of those ships, it gets really hot down in the engine rooms, and
Oh yeah.
and they don't see daylight. I mean,
Right.
very, very. They come up topside to see the sun, and oh my God. So
Pale ones.
hmm?
The pale ones. Yeah.
So of course, a command, you're in air conditioned spaces, and they keep it cold not for you but for the equipment. So you got foul weather jackets on a lot of times, depending. But one of the nice things about communications and being behind a cipher lock and having to have a security clearance to get in is nobody can just walk on in. Like some of the junior officers think, oh, well, I'm an officer, bring the buzzer. I want to. No, you're not on my access list. And I mean, they'll get irate to where they think that they can talk to the commanding officer who puts a stop to that right away. You're a nobody. I, I, I really liked my job. I wasn't real crazy about typing messages and that kind of thing, but the technical end of it, I just really liked. In fact, radium and carry, it's called a tweaker. It's a little screwdriver. You see them, toolboxes. They're really, okay, we always had it in our pocket with a wheel book. Do you know what a wheel book is?
What?
A wheel book.
No.
I'll teach you something today. It's a little green book for notes, and you flip it, and put all our notes in it as you go around. It's called a wheel book. You always have it in your pocket. Who you need to talk to, what you need to discuss, what needs to get done. So you got your wheel book, and you got your tweaker. Well, electronics technicians don't like radium in a whole lot because of the fact they maintain the cryptographic equipment. They maintain, and we don't want anybody touching it. Well, radium, I don't need to call an electrician technician. I can do it and get the tweaker out, or now crypto equipment is changed. So it's all computer now. So I'm sure it's all cyber. But we had, you change cards or codes, and we had this one piece of gear where it's when you closed it, it split the key card in half, and you had to, with the disc in hand, say, I'm in Japan, it's the Philippines, and we have this circuit. um, you have to do things at the same time to sync up. And if you're not good at it or you don't know what you can go through a deck of cards, and they don't like that too 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 much. Or it's not working. You take you well, it's not working. I take out my trusted dollar bill, wipe the pad down. Well, the ETs don't like that. It works because it takes the lint or whatever is, but I guess they say something about but yeah, they say we're dangerous. Even today, if I walk into it and I meet an ET, bring certain things up. Oh, you're a radium with a tweaker. I something that was unique was going to Fort Gordon, Georgia for satellite school. Um, I was in charge of all of the Western Pacific satellites, and
Oh, really?
yeah.
Wow.
Now, I didn't. My job was I was a satellite controller, was monitoring everything that was up on the satellite. Satellites have so many channels, so many links, and then you have the ground mobile forces too that are set up that you provide things for, and you have to adjust things by power and for access and things like that. So I think sometimes on watch be very slow and you're just watching them on, watch it. You don't have to do a whole lot. But I guess my biggest fear was a satellite crapping out on me. And what was I going to do? Because we had old ones too that we still used as backup. So one night I looked up and I see it would be like at the hospital watching a heart monitor, and all of a sudden go flat.
Flat line.
And that's exactly what happened. I said, okay. And immediately the super, well, we got to call in the day people to help you. Day workers are
Most
terrible.
of those satellites, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, were they put up in the 60s?
Oh, yeah, some of them are old, yeah.
So they're still pretty new in
Oh.
the early 70s.
Well, considering technology today, I mean, there are quite a few. I mean, but we use more as backup, and this one quite a bit was on it. So they're calling the department head, the division, the skipper, and by the time everybody got in, I had everything restored, and that's when I got my meritorious defense service medal, and it's one of the highest. I'm proud of that. In fact, it was presented to me at my chief's pinning when I made chief. So I got two things. So that was.
How long from when you went in did it take you to make chief?
I made chief in 1990.
Oh,
It
wow.
took me a little while because I had some setbacks getting in trouble. And when you do that, you got to start all over.
But this lady knows how to have fun while getting in trouble, as you'll hear and see very shortly.
I was a steaming seaman.
If I could touch that one with a 10-foot pole.
Like I told you, I can work as hard, and party just as hard as my counterparts. And although I want to be treated with respect, you don't have to walk on pins around me. I don't get embarrassed very easily, if at all. I laugh at myself more than anybody. Anything else, you have to let. I can be just as rude, crude, and socially unacceptable.
Navy non-coms.
Now,
You know.
this was then, and this is now, and I've calmed down.
Non-coms, run the military anyway,
Huh?
all branches. The non-commissioned officers.
Oh,
They're the backbone.
well, the chief
Yeah.
in the Navy is the backbone of the Navy.